Welcome back to another Island Fisherman Magazine fly tying video, where we tie some of my favorite patterns for the island. Today we're tying a very successful springtime streamer, with that little bit of egg yarn in there, just mimicking that embryonic sac of a freshly emerged fry. This is a perfect fly for those Vancouver Island streams, just as those salmon fry are starting to emerge. It's a great fly swung, dead drifted, and even just stripped across a pool. Fish go mad for it. For the first step, I just grab 1/0 Vivis thread and wrap to the bend of the hook. Next I grab a piece of silver saltwater flashabou. And with this tinsel you can really harp down on the stuff. It's good to kind of make sure it's tight and taut and not flatting around at all. And when you are securing the tinsel at the head of the fly, make sure to add a thread base for the bucktail we're about to tie in. Now I only need a pinch for this fly. It's a relatively sparse pattern, but you can play around with how much material you want to tie in. But when you do tie it in, make sure that material is clean, just so you don't want any fibers sticking over the eye of the hook. And make sure you secure it in tightly so that bucktail doesn't spin or rotate. Next we add a few strands of crystal flashabou. I really like how this undulates in the water and is really durable when it comes to fish strikes. Next I grab a pinch of egg yarn, just securing it underneath the fly, doubling it over, and just creating a little bit of a head for the next step when we add the eyes. And now for one of the most challenging steps of the fly is just putting those eyes in nicely and evenly. They tend to move around on you and not want to stick, so I recommend adding a little dot of UV resin and then curing it just so the eyes stay in place. And after the most challenging step, it's now time for the most tedious. Getting the UV resin in just right can be a little bit challenging as well. So just add a little bits at a time, don't add too much because then it'll be dripping all over the place and fairly frustrating to deal with. And then I just like to move the UV resin around with an old pair of scissors, just shaping it so it's even. So what I like to do is just add a few dots, cure it, and then just kind of build upon a base layer. And now for the bottom of the fly. I just like to add as much UV resin as I did to the top, just to make sure both sides are even. And there you have it, one of my favorite springtime flies. This is perfect when the fry are just starting to emerge from the gravel and have that little embryonic sac still attached. I find trout really key on this, and that egg yarn will mimic that perfectly. I wish you the best of luck on this fly, and I hope to see you out there in the river.